Okay, we are live.
All righty.
Exciting.
Yay.
Good morning and welcome to the November 2nd edition of 1 Million Cups Fairfax. Please take the time, if you're with us virtually, to go ahead and check in on the 1 Million Cups app. This allows One Coffin Foundation to watch what we're doing and see how many of you actually join in. Plus, it allows you to sit there and connect with the others in the meeting after we're done, so that you can follow up and have questions or engage with them on one-on-one basis. This is 1 Million Cups, the Fairfax County chapter, where we engage in entrepreneurship, community, and education. Our mission of the 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to entrepreneurs and connect all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. Our key pillars are presentations, not pitches, authentic connections, not networking, and run for the community by the community. Our culture is a safe and supportive environment. 1MC is co-owned by all those who show up and support an international exclusive organizations and presenters. 1MC is an all volunteer-led we rotate organizers often with our duties and jobs, hence why I'm emceeing for the first time in a long time. And we fuel your presenter pipeline through it together as a community. I'm going to laugh because half the screen is blocked by my other stuff. 1 Million Cups is a weekly event that brings together entrepreneurs and the Fairfax County community for over coffee and conversations. We have 160 chapters nationally. Actually, it's over 160 chapters now. And we share with communities across the nation in an aim to present an inclusive and supportive front door to the local entrepreneur ecosystems. As again, we're safe, supportive, inclusive, diverse. Everyone has a voice. No one person dominates. And we all please ask for everybody to be respectful and considerate. So what are the tenets for 1 Million Cups? Well, we ask you to log into the app on Facebook. You can also join us on the Zoom meetings here. You can engage with us online, and you can follow us up on Facebook and also by email. We ask that you attend each week if you're interested in each presenter. So who are our organizers? We're led by Donnell Johns and Jen Dalton. Then there's myself, Tony Barnett, Myosha Mendes, John Yu. Then we have Melinda Siegel, John Rutenberg, Renetta Jones, Justin Wilson, and we have, of course, Russ. Hopefully he can hear me if he's online today. So we have sponsors each week, and this week our sponsors for our facility location is Office Evolution, a great location in Tysons, which we hope to one day go back to. So Sylvia is here to present on behalf of Office Evolution. So if you have a moment to say something, please.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Sylvia, and I'm with Office Evolution. And here at Office Evolution, we provide affordable private offices, conference rooms, virtual services, such as a professional business address. So if you're looking for any of our plans, just reach out to me. I will leave my information in the chat. So again, my name is Sylvia Ferguson, and I'm the Business Center Manager of Office Evolution in Tysons. Thank you.
Yay. All right.
Thanks.
And now we have our coffee sponsor for this month, who is probably one of my favorite sponsors of all time. It's Jen Dalton, who is now releasing next week her second book on communications. Jen, take it away.
Thank you, Tony, so much for that introduction. Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you here. Jen Dalton, personal brand strategist for executives and entrepreneurs. My first book is called The Intentional Entrepreneur, which is about personal brand and how to leverage that to launch your business. This second book that comes out next week is about difficult conversations and how do you stay authentic while you have them, whether they're at business, at home. And so I'm excited to have that launch. You can see on the screen, I have an author series coming up with some amazing guests where we're going to discuss women in leadership. How do you have authentic discussions just with your family, friends, etc., about tough topics? So please join us. I will drop the link in chat and would love to see you there. It is free. And it's really just a way to start helping us all practice how to have difficult conversations. I'll give you a hint. Chapter 11 is on politics, but there's all kinds of other chapters about other things. So do check it out. I'll share more information on Facebook. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Thanks so much.
Yay. All right.
Yay.
So here's how our meetings will work. We ask that you please all keep your microphones on mute. When we get to the Q&A section, we ask that you use the hand wave icon in the chat section to announce to the moderator that you have a question. You can also private message them in the chat room if your white hand waving is not working. I don't guarantee waving your hand in front of the screen will work, but you can also try that too, but it might distract from everybody else. If the moderator says your name, please unmute your microphone, ask your question, first by saying who you are and where you're with, then ask your question. And please, we ask that you be brief. We have a bunch of people who have questions, and you may not get all of the things you have in, but you can always go back and ask another question and elaborate later on. And then once you're done, please put your microphone back on mute. All right. So today we have Sharing Solace, and it's presented by Crystal Webster. I'm going to go ahead, and this is going to get a little kludgy right here, but I'm going to switch over to her deck in just a moment. But her challenge question is, how can I best reach grieving family members after the loss of a loved one? Okay, so think about that. Let me go ahead and stop sharing for a second and switch over to her deck. There we go. Okay, Crystal, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I just took myself off mute. You can hear me, right? Okay,
Yes.
good. Well, welcome. Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am Crystal Webster. I am founder and chief solace officer of Sharing Solace. More importantly than that, I am Madeline's mother. Before we get too much into kind of the meat and potatoes of what Sharing Solace does, I would love to tell you a little bit more about who I am. So, Tony, if you can go to the next slide, please.
Hang on.
Tony, we don't see your we don't see a slide. We just see their webpage.
Okay, something's not working here. Hold on. It's not letting me advance the deck. Hang on.
Yeah, I see a webpage.
Well, it's the Google Slides, but for some reason it's not advancing.
Tony, what you need to do is go out and come back into 1 Million Cups. It's happened to me when I've done slides and spoken at the same time. Just flip, just go out and come in. Don't go offline. Just go to another screen on your computer and then come back in.
Look at me causing problems.
Negative. This happens in person too. Every time Tony touches stuff.
Hey, Crystal, your logo looks like a butterfly. Is that intentional?
Yes, it is. I see it as a butterfly. Some people see it as a flower. It really represents whatever you want it to be. So I don't like to tell people it's a butterfly unless they see it as a butterfly. But yes, there's a lot of symbolism in the butterfly.
Metamorphosis.
Yes. And how sometimes you have to go through unmeasurable pain to become beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for calling me beautiful.
Yes.
That's what Marnie says when you get into the gym. She says, "Oh, you're not so beautiful now, but I'm going to make you pain, make you suffer, and then you'll be a butterfly."
I like it.
There we go.
There we go.
Looking-
All right.
Bravo.
Thank you so much, Tony. All right. So this is my husband and I on our wedding day. Yes, we did run off to Vegas and have a full Catholic mass on the strip in Sin City. And I knew I was in for an adventure. So, oh, it looks like it's moving a little faster than I was anticipating. Oh, well. So we, after our crazy adventure of getting married in Vegas, I came back home and sat at my corporate desk job behind a desk in a cubicle, pushing papers around, and realized I needed another adventure. And so every opportunity we had, we traveled the world. We went everywhere and saw everything we possibly could. And I found that some of the most meaningful things that I learned on my trips was humans are humans. We have the same wants and desires and fears and needs. I don't care the color of your skin or the language you speak or the clothes on your back. We all want the same thing. And that was just so powerful to me. And so then it was 2010 and time to come home for our biggest adventure yet. Can you flip it, please? This is my beautiful daughter, Madeline Elizabeth Webster. Obviously, I'm a little bit partial. I think she's the most adorable child in the history of the world. She was born May 19th, 2010. Obviously, very precious, love her to pieces. And I'd like to show you a picture of her today. This is my Madeline Elizabeth today. You see, 8 hours after she was born, she died in my arms from a genetic condition that, come to find out, I have and passed on to her that made it impossible for her to sustain her own life. Obviously, that sent me into a tailspin. There's no other way to put it. I, for several years, lived my life waiting to die. And I mean several years. It took me before I could get to the point where I could start to see the light. I hate to say at the end of the tunnel, but I started to see a light. And it was then that I realized that something needed to change. And that's how Sharing Solace was born. So Sharing Solace really solves 4 main problems. For the friends and families of those that are grieving, we solve the what do you do and what do you say question. And also, how do you provide support for those that are grieving when you just don't have the words? And then for the grievers themselves, we help you feel less isolated and less lonely. And also, when those treasured keepsakes that you received at, say, a funeral or at some point along your grieving journey, at some point, those will just start to become tchotchkes. And how do we help you transition from there? Next slide, please. So this is what we developed. This is our token and locket set. This is a necklace. We also have a similar keychain that works in the same way. And it's intended to be given to you during that deep initial heavy loss. But wait, there's more. Click, please. When you receive this necklace or keychain, keep it near your heart as long as it brings you comfort. At some point, it will no longer do that anymore. That's just kind of the nature of grief. When that happens, it's symbolically telling you you're ready to release that debilitating, you don't want to function grief. You take out the middle token from the outer locket like it's shown in this picture. You take that middle token, put it into a new locket, and then you pay that new locket forward onto somebody else you know that needs love and support as they go along their own journey. You keep the outer lockets like it's shown here to remind you that you are still a whole person. You're just always going to have a little hole. Now, our real secret sauce lies in that middle token. On the back side, it's engraved with a unique identifier that allows you to register it on our website and actually follow it as it moves from person to person. You can share as much or as little of your story as you'd like, and you can find others that understand because they've walked in your shoes before. Next slide. So our customers and intended users are exactly who you think they are. They are the friends and families of those that are grieving and anyone that is disheartened from any sort of grief. I adamantly believe that grief is grief and it should not be compared, and it is all relative to your current situation. Next slide. So what makes us so cool? Well, in my humble opinion, we do have a patent, which I think is pretty cool, on the piece itself and how it connects into the website. This is the first thing that I've ever found that is both a tangible gift that is wrapped in a community of love and support. And when you're grieving, that is just so powerful. And then I'm really going to date myself, but who remembers the Heather Locklear shampoo commercial? You know, she washes her hair and then she tells two friends and they tell two friends and so on and so on and so on. I've seen that firsthand where I've been at events and people have actually dragged their friends back to hear about the Sharing Solace mission. And that means the world to me. Okay, next. So since we launched our token line, we've also been able to expand our product line into a few other also supportive things. My gratitude journal, this was the thing that actually got me started on my path to finding my new normal and my new happy. We also offer some personalized engraved gifts because those, again, are so meaningful, and a reflection card and journal kind of into one that I've been asked for multiple times. So that's why we developed that. But the thing that I'm really excited about, next slide, I wrote a book. Oh my gosh, Jen knows, books are not easy to do. So this book is called Confessions of a Griever, turning a hot mess into a Haute Message, Laughable Lessons for when life just sucks. Because honestly, sometimes it just does. This book is a little bit my story, a little bit self-help and kind of tips and tricks to help you move along in the grieving process. But I really found that my grief journey was not linear. It doesn't go through the stages of grief like most people think. Can you go to the next slide, please? This is what my grief journey looked like. It was a mess. Ups and downs and roller coasters and loop-de-loops. So the book is actually written like that. It is written as a choose your own grief guide. So at the end of every chapter, you decide where you want to go next, just like you do in life and just like you do in grief. You build the story that you need for you right now. Next slide, please. So that is where we are. That is what we offer. Marketing efforts that we've worked on thus far is obviously speaking and education. I think that it is very powerful to share my story in hopes of encouraging others to share their own story. There's just something very powerful in getting really real very quickly. And also some education around what has helped me along the process. I don't believe that I know the right answer. I know the right answer for me. And if I can share that, hopefully other people can find their own right answer. And then corporate nonprofit partners, I honestly believe that collaboration is the best way to amplify our message and let people know that they are not alone on their grieving journey. That is probably the biggest thing that I experienced and that I experience with people that I work with, is that they just feel so alone and so isolated on their own grief journey. And it doesn't have to be that way. Everyone experiences grief. And so if I and Sharing Solace can help you remember you're not alone, we're doing what we're supposed to do. So thank you very much. I'm really excited for questions. This is all of my contact information and another picture of my daughter because I think she's adorable.
All
What's your
right.
challenge question?
Thank you,
All right. And
Crystal. Yeah.
I'm going to switch over to her challenge question here. Hold on.
Great.
I'm going to get out my paper.
Oh,
You're
don't
gonna get
worry.
all our notes. Yeah.
We're recording it. There we go. All right. So we're back to now to the other deck. And the question is, how can I best reach grieving family members after the loss of a loved one? Melinda, take it away.
That was a really touching presentation, Crystal. While I'm waiting for everybody to put their hands up or send me a note that they have something to ask, I've got a couple questions that I had thought of ahead of time since I read your deck. Have you looked at funeral homes as a tie-in partner, also at clergy, florists, like Teleflora, some of the national chains, and the card companies like American Greetings, Hallmark, where they already have programs that reach people that are going through times like this as possible partners?
Yes, I have. Thank you. That's a great question. And I am working to, foster those relationships. It's not just, hey, here's this thing I have.
Talmar, I see you've got a question, and then Monica after Talmar.
Crystal, thank you so much for your presentation. Excellent presentation. Love what you're doing. Gonna try not to cry while we talk. So,
Me too.
So I love everything that you're doing. Totally. I mean, it is spot on, the right thing for so many people. I have 3 notes, and then you can follow up with me more if you want it. One, your story is super powerful, but what I didn't hear was a time when you found solace in a memento. And I think that would tie to your product. I was kind of surprised. I didn't know that much about the company. So when we went to a product so much, which I love and I have no problem with, I kind of thought this was going to be like a grief group or something. That was my expectation. So I think if you can bring your story into the productization a little bit clearer, like what, and it doesn't have to be the memento that you have now. It's just you sharing how that helped you. I think that will ease the transition into the product and be even more powerful. I mean, it was phenomenal. And of course, your little girl is beautiful, of course. And then I also really wanted to hear, sorry, I got distracted, tie in with the message, and then I'll have to come back to it. I apologize. I lost my other note. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't.
Story of my life.
But thank you. Keep up the great work. Excellent, excellent product.
Thank you.
Monica.
Hi, my name is Monifa, and I just wanted to say that I'm sure everybody's going to tell you that was a beautiful presentation, and my heart just dropped because I can associate with a grieving process. But I wanted to know, I looked on your site, do you have more items for men? My brother recently went through a loss, and thinking about maybe a watch or something that men would most likely keep around them all the time would really be a great gift. So do you have more items for men coming up?
Yes. The short answer is yes, I do. That is in the process of, creation, R&D and all that good stuff. Right now, we just have the keychain and the necklace, but the idea is all of the tokens, I hope to have different styles of tokens as well that are interchangeable between all of the multiple products. So watches, worry stones, keychains, necklaces, all of that. I really hope to be able to almost make it semi-customizable. So you decide what token goes into what piece and go from there.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next 2 people are Jeff Englander and then John Foster.
Sorry, I had to take myself off mute. Good morning, everyone. What a wonderful presentation. I can't thank you enough. And Crystal, because what you did, I think, was you brought to the forefront what a lot of people are facing. And when they're facing this, they're in the background, right? So to that end, I thank you for doing just that. And my recommendation for you is to reach out to the trade association, specifically as a marketing partner. So I'm not sure if funeral homes have I'm sure they have their own trade association, but also too is religious groups have trade associations as well, or marketing arms or lobbying arms or whatever. And what you want to do is specifically ask to see if you can be a marketing partner of theirs. And in this way, you show up on their website, people come to you, as opposed to you trying to reach out to them. Have others try to sell for you. That's just my recommendation. I don't have specific ones you can talk to, but I mean, this town is filled with trade associations. I'm sure there's a trade association or 2 or 3 that you could at least be marketing partners of.
Yes, thank you. I love that. Wrote it down because I will forget in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Crystal, John Foster here.
Hi, John.
Hey, wonderful presentation. And I've got to tell you, I don't know how all this works, but literally last night I had a discussion with my wife about the loss of her sister, which she's been struggling with since July.
Oh.
So this was certainly a very apropos presentation for me. Couple of thoughts. Certainly right now, you know, with the pandemic and all this stuff going on, this whole loss thing is just, you know, has been magnified because of, you know, the inability of people to, you know, to be with our loved ones in nursing homes and things. So certainly to me, that's there may be a way to not focus on, but use that from a marketing standpoint. The other thing to think about is, I think, from a loss standpoint, I don't know if there's a way to incorporate Alzheimer's in this, because that's a loss that happens before the person passes away.
Mhm.
So just another maybe angle to think about, you know, in helping people through that. And, you know, because that's something that every time, and again, this is from a discussion with my wife last night, whose mom has Alzheimer's, and every time she talks to her, she loses her again.
Yes.
So anyway, so just a couple of thoughts, and really appreciate the presentation. One other quick thing, certainly, there's, you probably either talk to them or there's a group, grief share group, that it's a nonprofit group that does a wonderful job as well. So anyway, just some thoughts. Thank you so much for what you're doing. It certainly fills a huge need out there, and I think you're doing it in such a way that is unique.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Vitali, then we have Rosemary, and then we have Tamar again.
Hi, Crystal. Thank you for the presentation again.
Good morning.
Yeah, hi. So basically, the thing is, like, I wanted to ask, well, the little piece that I used to be a designer, and I know how these jewelry pieces work, and I know how easy it is to get things lost. And, you know, like, I really like the idea where that piece, you know, carries on from person to person. And, you know, over time, I think that will become like a piece of history that everyone will have to have responsibility, that, you know, to keep it safe. And I want to ask, you know, like, is there a way that would make it secure, like where you pass it from person to person, you know, maybe, you know, like, not like just take it out, maybe some way of using some kind of a technique where that little piece will go from one jewelry to another, you know, because definitely there will be like 80% where people will lose it on the way, you know, and you wouldn't want that person give to someone else and then they'll be like, oh, you know what, I lost that piece, can I have another one, you know, because that little history is, you know, that's all, it's gone. So
Right.
and but I really like the idea, and I've never seen something like that in, you know, like, I know there is a way to pass crystal or gems, but not something where, you put your thought, your energy, your time where you grieved, and then you're ready to give it to someone else to actually hold it and then grieve over it and then pass it to someone else, because they're ready to give it to someone else to, to grieve over, and then, like come as a whole, and then give it back to someone else to do that. So I would actually feel really bad if someone lost something that is mine, something that I held it as dear and then gave it to someone else. So yeah.
We've tried to add, like in the design itself, it is actually locked in place. So I'm wearing the necklace now. The middle piece does not come out. Here, let me, I got this one here too. So this is the keychain version. The keychain ring actually locks through this, which keeps the token from opening, or the locket from actually opening up. So you have to be very intentional with when you are ready to release this middle token. I'm not going to say it can't fall out or you can't lose it, but the intention is there that you are very intentional with when you want to remove this and pass it on to someone else. Does that kind of answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, because you see, like when you open it, you dropped it.
Yeah.
So imagine you're in a cab, and you dropped it and it rolled somewhere, and you were like, oh my God, like I lost it. So is there a way to actually connect it? I mean, have it secured, so it's not lost that easily. I know it is easy just to open it and then give it to someone. Maybe there is a way to, maybe bring two jewelry pieces together and then have some kind of a lock that unlocks that little token, and then when you bring it apart, now that little piece already is on the other side of the jewelry.
That's a great idea. I need to think about that.
I want to jump in and make sure we get to other questions. I see a few more people with their hands.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great comment.
Thanks, Jen. We've got Rosemary, Talmar, and then you.
Good morning. First of all, I want to say thank you for sharing your story. I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. But more impactful, I think, for the rest of us is that you chose to take this one more step and help others. So I want to thank you for that as well. Coming back to your challenge question really quickly, have you explored selling through Amazon? Because I know a lot of people, when they hear of a family loss, will go to Amazon and search for sympathy gifts or sympathy cards or sympathy something. And this would be a really good next step for them. So I recently had a family loss. We got a beautiful memento from one of my cousins, and I know it came from Amazon. Is that something that you've looked into, or?
So our pieces are on Amazon. I'm still learning how to use Amazon. I'm really great at shopping. I'm not so well at selling on Amazon. However, the book is on Amazon, and I'm having much better success with learning how to share that through Amazon. So yes, that is on it. The pieces are currently on there, and I just need to learn how to do it better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of folks on this call that can help you better than I can, but I'm thinking that there might be, now that you have the book, that there could be a collected page that is associated to you or your company that, and I don't know how you kind of up your search results except for sponsoring on Amazon, but then you go down that whole path. Right. But I think that might be a way to get you a little closer to the first person in that chain who can then literally get everything else kind of up and running.
I love it. Thank you so much.
So we've got Talmar and then John Foster again too.
Hi, Crystal. I thought of my other question.
Okay.
I'm really, I love the idea of the built-in resale because it is about the moving it forward. I'm curious, how do you position them replacing or purchasing the next host necklace? I don't know what to call the right thing, you know, base necklace. Because obviously if I'm keeping the base necklace, I'm taking the medallion, I'm passing it on to into the next base necklace. It's the way you said it sounded like maybe I get 2 bases when I order, or do I go, okay, I'm ready to pass it on and I need to go and order it now? How do you guys handle that?
The intention is that you know who you figure out who you're going to pass it to when you're ready to. So at that point, once you know who you're passing it on to, then you would come back to our website or wherever and pick out the locket that best suits them.
I love that. I love that. And do you include that messaging in the packaging when you send it so that you're like, okay, when this is your next step, these are your, okay, good. Just making sure. So I just think it's super powerful. And there is something to adding more information about the history being captured. Don't forget to share your story. You know, everything, you know, the memory lives on, all that kind of stuff. I think it's just super huge. I know it's a lot to think about, but it's outstanding.
Thank you.
Jen Dalton next.
So I was going to ask if you could customize the word, and then I was looking at your website, and you can.
Yes.
So I think it's important to communicate that up front if you're doing another pitch or presentation at least. One thought would be, to Telmar's point, you know, unfortunately, I hear of someone grieving, you know, more frequently than I would like. And so there might be something to buying a necklace, a token, and an extra necklace so that you're ready to pass it along right away and get that action going faster. And maybe there's a discount when you do that. I don't know, but I think there's something to having that ready. So that's just a thought. It sounds like you already have messaging in the package that tells them the story, why they're getting it, what to do next. So that's great. That was another question. I would look at nonprofit partnerships. So, you know, when someone buys a necklace, does a portion of the sales go to a nonprofit that they can choose from? Because I think that also is a you know, giving and gratitude at the same time. And then the other piece that I think would be helpful is sharing more about the member portal and what happens there. Because I already know several people that I would love to, you know, send this to that I can think of. I do think adding a bracelet or a few other products would be great, but the keychain and the necklace is a good place to start. So really powerful. I think getting a couple out now so you can see a token tree would help you. And maybe you have, I don't know, it'd be good to get a couple going so you can give an example and show that, and you can tell that story of how that is, that token is moved around. So just a thought.
I love it. And if you're if you're on the website, you can go to the token tree. It actually looks more like a spider web, but that's the beginning of our token tree.
And I think that's a big motivator, right? Like for someone to see the ripple effect. And so making it easy to purchase a couple to get them going. Like if I give someone the necklace for them, should I also give them another necklace to pass along? Again, just how do you make it easier to keep it moving forward? Just
I love it. Thank you.
Next we have John Foster.
Thank you. I'll make this quick. It just kind of dawned on me. Have you looked into like ancestry.com and those kind of things? Because to me, this ties into that, because you lose somebody and then that's part of the tree that that's there. And so ancestry or any of, those things that look at, that, and also thinking about even possibly, when you're looking at I don't know if this is a little farther out there, but when you do the genetics, the gene testing, and then you look at again, going back to ancestry. So just a thought as far as, potentially looking out at other platforms.
I like it. Thank you.
Another thought that I had was I love Jen's idea of how do you do things, and I was thinking that when you probably have in your process when somebody registers their piece. I don't know if you've got something that you do when they register it. Do you send them a letter? Do you send them a note? And one of my thoughts was that you could almost start to set up, and maybe it would be through a weekly Zoom call with conference rooms you put people into. I'm thinking a little bit more security than having meetups or any in areas, but where you could get people together to talk about things if they want to talk about the grief that they're going through, and find others that are going through similar types of things. So doing something where you have to monitor it carefully because of security, but doing something online where you can put people together, and or with local clergy around the country, there may be a way to do something like that, and just be able to pay it forward, but also with support of others that are around them that are going through the same thing.
I love that.
Rosemary, you got another question.
Yeah, real quick thought, Crystal. I know we're very focused on family loss, but there is another huge grieving community, and that's pet loss. Especially as we learn to treat our pets better and they live longer, they become more deeply entrenched in our families. I appreciate that you're focused right now, and I think that's great. But as you begin to expand your product line, you may think about something focused on pet lovers and people who have lost their pets. And that may be just sort of a secondary part of your grieving circle. But certainly the tokens would be something that you could focus on that market as well.
I love that. Thank you.
Actually, you could do that and go through the veterinarian network, which would be really easy to do because there are veterinarian associations and ways to reach vets. And there are actually also banks that tie in with veterinarians and a lot of other groups that tie in with veterinarians. So there would be an easy way to launch something like that.
I love it. And although I do want to preface that I speak to my story of child loss because that's the story I know.
Yeah. And
also grief is grief. And I don't care if you've lost a child or a mother or a job or a pet or, your house burns down. That is all grief. And I really, discriminating grief is one of those things that just doesn't make any sense. Most discrimination doesn't, but yeah. So I don't want to say that I exclude anyone else. It's just, I speak to what I know.
This is a terrible time of COVID right now. And I was just wondering if you've also considered the talk show network, like The View, the morning shows, to talk about ways that families can look at grief and friends can help them with their grief as a PR network for you to go after.
I would love to do that. If anyone has any connections to The View, that would be awesome. Yes, I love to share my story in hopes that it helps others feel less alone. So
even
yeah,
Ellen, I mean, there are a lot of opportunities where you could take it.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody else in the queue. Am I missing?
Hey,
anybody?
Melinda.
Yes. Jump in.
So,
yeah.
Crystal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John.
Couple of comments that you made in the beginning. What do you say to people? You say as little as possible. You listen and love them. And there is no grief Olympics. Having experienced my son and daughter-in-law, similar fate. And people would walk over and start telling them about their own trials and tribulations, which is really like the worst thing you can do. So all those tips and tricks that you sort of referenced in the beginning and must be contained in your book, I'm sure, are the tidbits that you can utilize, sadly, for marketing. But also, are you tracking the pay forward?
Yes.
Okay.
It is being tracked on what we're calling our token tree on our website. That's a thing that looks more like the spider web than an actual tree.
Okay.
And within that, you can actually look at everyone's profile if they choose to share it. And there's lots of ways to connect through that token tree.
Well, which is amazing, because that should help you tell your story, as you have a history of token transfers over a couple of years, and that the token lives on. And when someone does pass that token to someone else, it's a major milestone for the giver. And to be able to leverage that in your storytelling, I believe will resonate with future buyers.
Got it.
Thank you, by the way, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I think Alan Anderson has a question.
There we go. Sorry about that. My mouse didn't work very well. Holly Shan actually does grieving for pets. You might be a good person for you to get in contact.
Okay. Perfect.
If I don't send you something, please do send me something. So, and I just had a one-to-one with her about a week ago.
Oh, awesome.
Put that in the chat if you haven't yet. And later, Crystal, can you put your contact information in the chat so people can follow up?
Sorry, I'm trying not to look at the chat so I can focus.
Look at it. It's great. I believe that Phyllis has another question.
Yes, thank you. That was a great presentation, Crystal, and I think I like how you have the product and a few other lines of products and then your book, and that could make some really interesting packages. My question to you is, are you committed to maintaining control of your product, or are you open to listening to larger corporations like Hallmark or Things Remembered or other places? Because you do have a patent, so you do have something that's licensable.
Yes, I'm not tied to anything. I actually have a good friend that owns a franchise of a Hallmark, and so we've kind of started talking about how to move forward that way. So I'm not tied to it, and I'm exploring those possibilities.
Wonderful. All right, thank you everybody for your questions. I have one quick question for you, then we'll wrap it up with the questions with Donnell. Crystal, to Melinda's point, I think what really is the powerful point, the part that you have that goes to your challenge question, is you are really you can become the expert on grief. People look for advice, having had a number of people pass away, especially recently. Not having anyone there to tell you what to do or give advice or help out, being that part of it, uses then your products to support what you say. And if you start doing more social media, get the attention. I can make some interactions. I think there are a couple of people here can do it as well. Getting your name out there as someone who can be a grief expert, who can sit there and talk to groups, who can sit there and talk to individuals and things like that. That's what you have that most people don't have. You've worked it out. You've understand it. You've overcome it. And marketing that part of it, I think, is what your winning challenge is. Okay. But we always close out with Donnell Johns asking the final question. And I'd like at this point to introduce Donnell and have him ask. Go ahead.
Good morning. And thank you for sharing your story with us, Crystal. It really touched my heart. I can't imagine what you're going through. So thank you for sharing your story with our group. My final question is what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
I love that question for a lot of reasons, because I love to help as well. The number one thing that I think, especially right now, you can do to help if you're interested is speaking to your point, Tony, on being the expert in grief. I am actually doing a video series on Facebook right now called the 12 Days of Grieving Christmas. It just started yesterday, where each day, I hate to call it, a suggestion of ways to kind of gracefully move through the holidays. So if you or someone you know is going through grief right now, especially the heavy debilitating grief, that might be a way to help them realize that they're not alone and it is okay to grieve through the holidays, even a decade into it. So like yesterday's tip was, please invite grievers to your festivities, whatever they are. And also, an invitation is not a subpoena. You don't have to show up because you're invited. And so for the next 12 days, Monday through Thursday, we're going to do one of those types of very short videos. And I'd love to invite anyone to join watching those videos with us. That's a really long answer. I'm sorry.
No, thank you so much. And we appreciate you. Let's give her a round of applause.
Yes.
I'm going to pass it over to Tony.
Donald, thank you. All right, so coming up, we have next week, we have Welly. We have a couple of companies that we're talking to for filling in on the 16th. And then as you can see, we will be taking a holiday break during Christmas and New Year's, so there won't be any meetings. We can all spend our Wednesday mornings with family and friends or work, whatever you decide to do. All right. And if you are interested in presenting and have not presented to our Fairfax chapter in the past, please go on to our 1MillionCups/Fairfax site and register to present. We are always looking for new and interesting companies, and the requirements are not that complicated. Upcoming events. So Russ, this is over to you because I didn't get your email with the list of events. So please fill us in on what you have coming up and going on.
It's actually, everything's clearing up because it's the end of the year. I don't have much going on, actually. We've got a one board meeting, but I don't think anybody's interested in that. It's just like end of the year follow-up business stuff. I really don't have anything. I'm sorry. We have a Toys for Tots is going on at Patriots Pub and Grill. We're accepting monetary donations because this year, because of COVID, we can't accept toys themselves physically. So we're accepting checks on their behalves. We're also taking donations and converting that into a large monetary gift from the Chamber of Commerce, Patriots Pub, and Vision Idea Design as well. So if you're over in Fairfax City, please stop in, make a monetary donation for Toys for Tots. We'd appreciate that. We're doing that until the 13th of December.
Okay.
I have
go ahead, Donnell, and then Talmar.
So I have an event on December 12th. Veterans Grow America is having an event where we're showcasing military spouses and veteran entrepreneurs that have a business. We actually have a couple of our entrepreneurs on this morning, which is Monifa. She's going to be showcasing her products at Fort Belvoir Post Exchange. If you have a DoD ID card and can make it on Fort Belvoir, or know someone that has a DoD ID card that can make it on Fort Belvoir, please come out and support our veterans and military spouses that are going to be showcasing their business. Also, I want to make sure that you guys share the love of 1 Million Cups with your friends and family. This is a place that you can get help for your business or ideas on how to grow your business. Just because we had a business sharing we have different type of businesses on here every day, but no matter what the type of business, you can learn from them and grow your business. So share that out with all the businesses that you know. Thanks.
Okay, Talmar, and then Jen has an event.
Thank you very much. I'm excited. I think some of you know I partnered, or my company, Boss Actions, we partnered with University of Phoenix to present an entrepreneurship series every month. And this month it's navigating forward through sales. So I am being joined by 3 amazing experts, and we will have a panel discussion on how business owners and entrepreneurs can really be addressing the sales myths and issues that are coming about as far as building and scaling and growing a successful business. It's a free event. I've dropped it in the chat. I would love to see you December 17th at 2 p.m. Virtual event, obviously.
Okay, thank you. And Jen?
I have a couple of Meet the Author events. One next Tuesday, the 8th. So my book officially will launch on the 7th, but we'll have pre-orders later this week and into next week. But on the 8th, I'll be doing a 6 to 7 fireside chat. And then on the 9th, I'll be doing a lunchtime interview. And the same thing the following week, I'll do a fireside chat on the 15th from 6 to 7 p.m. and a lunchtime chat on the 16th. So each of those will have different topics, whether it's what did I learn by being an author? So I'm sure Crystal could chime in and share tons of like, here's what I wish I knew beforehand. And then we'll also be having conversations about difficult discussions and challenges as well. So hope you can join me. It's free. Would love to have that shared. It's on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. Thanks.
And Jen, you do have a website that lists out all of your events and activities that you'll be doing as the new book releases, correct?
Yes, that will all be going on brandmirror.com today, as well as the noisebreaker.com. And I'll drop those in chat.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, then.
Tony?
Thank you. Yep.
Tony? Hi,
Oh,
it's
yes.
Karen.
Yes. Karen, good.
Yes, I just wanted to share information about an event that we're hosting tomorrow. It's called Securing the Remote Workforce and Essential Government Services. We will have CISOs from 3 Virginia localities, and they're going to talk about challenges, opportunities, and solutions to secure government services and telecommuting workers via the cloud infrastructure. So that's
awesome.
free. It's a free webinar from 9 to 10:15 tomorrow.
And everybody can find the link at the Fairfax County EDA website, correct?
Right, and I put one in the chat section too.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, then. Anybody else? Donnell?
No, I was just saying Karen snuck in here with initials so we wouldn't know who she was.
No, we always love when she's here. We miss seeing her in person. And I know that hopefully soon, we will be able to get back together again at Office Evolution and have a wonderful Wednesday mornings again. All right, then. Again, 1 Million Cups, we break down the barriers. If you'd like to present, please. Also share the love, as Donnell likes to say. People, if you know a business owner who has challenges and wants to participate, or even just come in and join us and have the knowledge that they can help out another business member or another business owner who is facing challenges, this is the place to do it. We are, of course, part of the Kauffman Foundation. Feel free to go and look them up and do a little research on them. It's their motto is be uncommon, and I can tell you that it's been a wonderful organization to be part of, and I think the more you look into it, the more you'll find out that it can be a very big help to you and your efforts. So we are 2 minutes left. People can stay on